You're listening to the Vick757 podcast featuring Dwight and Michael Vick talking all things tech.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Vick757 Show, talking all things tech. I'm your host once again, former Virginia Tech offensive lineman and captain Dwight Vick, and legendary, iconic quarterback, all-conference, Heisman finalist Michael Vick in the building. Vick, my little cuz, what's going on with you, man?
Cuz you need no introduction, man. You know that. Matter of fact, let me introduce you next time. Let me introduce you, cuz. Let me do you a favor. Let me pay it forward.
Hey. Yeah, I will do that next time. I'll let you do it, man. I'll let you do it, man.
It's going to be real simple. Introducing to y'all my big cuz. I love him to death. Played at guard at Tech, number 57. He represented.
Yeah.
Held Jim Drunkenmiller down.
Jim, Al.
Yeah.
You know what, man?
Nick.
Real quick. Nick. Oh, yeah, Nick. Shout out to Nick Sorensen. Nick Sorensen, for those that don't know, Nick Sorensen was our emergency quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He was the jack of all trades, man. Special teams, punter, quarterback, safety. And he played like 9 years in the league on special teams.
Yeah, I mean, just a smart football player, cuz. And, the one thing I know about Nick, he always played with confidence. And he always gave me confidence. He was the one person in that room. It's important to have a good quarterback room. Not just a starting quarterback, but a couple of quarterbacks around who is just knowledgeable, might not be the most gifted, guys who can help you get in and out of the huddle. And Nick was one of those guys.
Nah, he was, man. You guys had a great quarterback room, too, because you were there with Al and
Dave.
Deep Ball Dave.
Yeah, deep ball Dave. Grant was smart. Grant was super smart. Grant talked more than Al. And Al knew the offense. Al knew the system. We got to get Al Clark on the show.
Yo, yeah, we do. Shout out to Al Clark. Grant Knoll is, for those that don't remember, Grant Knoll and Al Clark, some really good Virginia Tech quarterbacks. Grant Knoll, man, I remember when he got there, he was a country boy, man.
You used to love picking on Grant.
I used to love picking on Grant. I used to go over there to his corner and mess with Grant, man.
Man, Grant was your guy, cuz you gave him a hard time.
Yeah,
but he respected it. He loved it. He loved you.
Hey,
that was a cool thing.
Nah, man, but we got another great show today. We got another great guest jumping on here in a few minutes, Mike, and then we also getting ready to talk Hokie trivia. We also going to give our Hokie shout outs, and we're going to recap that great win over Carolina, man. Before our guest jumps on, Mike, did you catch the game?
I caught it. Now, I'm going to be honest. I went over to a high school game. They had a rivalry game going on down the street. I took my son, my 3-year-old son over there. Went and met a coach I know. Shout out to OB. OB doing his thing with the quarterbacks. Took him over there, watched the game. The team quit at halftime. It was crazy.
What?
It was a brutal beatdown. Yeah. So we was watching the game on the phone, and I'm multitasking game for game. But I caught the fourth quarter, and it just seemed like the game has slowed down. I caught the first quarter, game slowed down, and I caught the ending, which was the most important.
Yo, that's crazy, man. It's a different time. I don't like to hate on the youngins. They got running clocks now. Teams can just stop playing when they want to.
They left, cuz. They left at halftime. They walked out the stadium. I couldn't believe it. Hold on. They went to the buses.
Hold on. Where were you at? Just let everybody know where you at. What?
I'm in South Florida, and it was a team. I don't want to get the names wrong. I know it was Deerfield versus the team with another. Begin with a D. Blue uniform, actually the team that Jerry Judy played for. Shout out to Jerry Judy. I seen him in high school, and I knew he was going to be a pro. I seen him get triple teamed on the post. Just went to a random game. I try to catch games on Fridays. Just hang out, But this was a good one. It was a rivalry game, and it was 28-0. One team was getting the best of another. Real good. And they decided to take it packing. They was walking to the buses. Couldn't believe it, man. There's some good high school players out there too, cuz I'm telling you, man, we got to influence some of them guys ain't nothing wrong with coming up north.
No question. No. And Virginia Tech and Florida over the last 20 years, especially during the Beamer era, had a great relationship with Florida players.
Yeah.
A great relationship.
No doubt.
You know,
a lot
we
of
can
my
go.
guys.
Yeah.
You know, cuz.
Yeah. Anthony Midget, Philip Summers, Lauren Johnson. So many guys, man.
Ike Taylor.
Ike Charlton.
Ike Charlton. I'm sorry, Ike Charlton. Ike was a beast.
Yeah.
Terrell Parham. P was crazy. TP, shout out to TP. Yeah, man. So some dudes that came from up this way.
Real quick, man, I was as you know, we talked. I was down in South Carolina. Shout out to Shane Beamer and Torian Gray. Torian Gray, another Florida
Congratulations,
guy.
Yes.
And they look good. I mean, this is a tech talking all tech things, you know what I'm saying, show, but Shane Beamer and Torian are forever Hokies, you know, and them fans, man, they are very happy to have Shane down there, man. They showed a lot of love to me and Shanice. Yeah, man.
That's
so it was a good weekend for a lot of Hokies, man. It was a good weekend
for
our
play?
Hokies. They played Eastern Illinois, man. It looked
okay. Yes. No doubt.
By
halftime, good warm up.
Yeah, it was a good warm up. By halftime, I was checking Twitter and you know, Snapchat and all, Facebook and all that.
Yeah.
What's crazy, the story of that game, before I guess getting ready to jump on here in 1 second. The story of that game was Shane started a grad assistant at what had 1 year of eligibility left.
Yeah.
He started a grad assistant at quarterback, but dude threw the ball well, man.
I mean, I was in the room with their quarterback. Shane allowed me in to come, you know, sit down and talk to the team and go out and check practice out and just look and see what, you know, situations needed to be addressed. I really didn't see anything wrong with his team. Like, I didn't see any flaws. I seen a bunch of athletes and quarterbacks that were consistent, some a little better than others and some older than the rest. But, you know, the guy that he chose was the guy who was the most qualified, and I can see why he put up some numbers this past week. Yeah,
no, man. You know, it was good, man. It was a good game if you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan. It was good for me. Shane. Yeah, congrats. It was good for me because I've never been to a South Carolina game. I've been to South Carolina. I remember I had some interest from them. I might have been offered by them, but I didn't take no visit there. I'm glad it was a night game because you know the heat was on. The heat was
on. I called you. We talked. Where you on your way to? You say I'm headed to South Carolina for a football game. I'm like, where? Where you going? God, it's like 180 degrees out there.
Man. I'm glad that sun went down, bro. Yeah. Because I was getting ready to contemplate watching that from the hotel room, man. I tell you. Yeah, man. Look, I'm done with that heat. I'm done since we played. I remember
we had our days.
Man, the 110s, Gentry, tire flips. People say, you missed the game. I said, I miss tripping with my dogs, my teammates. I miss playing, but I don't miss all that running in the stadium.
I don't miss pushing the truck. I don't miss pushing the truck at 2:00 on a Tuesday. And then after the truck, man, you go hit the hills. Remember they built the hill? They the back.
Yeah.
I think they took the hill away. Yeah. The hill is too much now for the kids. It's too much. I tell you what, whatever they're doing, they need to keep doing it. Our football team looked good last week. They looked very confident. They looked like they had fun playing. I mean, it was the number 9 ranked team in the country. It was North Carolina with a Heisman hopeful. And they hung in there, man. I was very impressed. Shout out to the coaches who put the game plans together and most likely and obviously instilled, you know, that confidence into the players. First, it starts with the game plan, and then it's about you believing in the game plan and the system. And, you know, they played fast on both sides of the ball.
You know, I agree. And for me, because I was not as surprised that Tech won. I was more impressed in how they won because, you know, record-wise, I believe, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I do know off the top of my dome, Tech entered the ACC in 2004, and Tech is now 14-4 against Carolina. One thing Carolina's done since Matt Brown and Dre Blasman mentioned last week is they recruited Virginia and the surrounding areas very well. But at the same time, Virginia Tech, Coach Fuente is now 5-1 against UNC. You know, they pretty much, and we're going to talk about this real quick, go in depth a little bit more throughout the show, but they left a lot of points on the board too.
I mean, we was in scoring positions, had some turnovers. maybe a pass or a play here and there. Like, we was in position to really put them away early. And, man, shout out to the crowd, though.
Oh,
shout out to the crowd, though. Like,
hey.
VT Nation, stand up. It was a like, y'all set that place on fire. And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Cuz, like,
listen.
Lane was on smash.
Yo, man, I saw all that orange and I saw them fans, and I forgot because last year it was terrible. It was terrible. You know, you had the challenge with COVID, and you had the fact that people couldn't be there, and it was just a tough season.
Right.
Then we had a losing season.
Yeah.
But seeing the fans there, man, and it was lit. Real quick, just for our viewers and listeners. I know for me, Enter Sandman was not part of it. It wasn't there for you either, right?
No, not there for me either. And I'm jealous because everybody be texting me like, how was it running out the tunnel? I'm like, I never ran out the tunnel to the Sandman. You know, that's their era. That's them, man. It fired them dudes up, man. And they came out and they wasn't playing this week. I really enjoy watching us. I can get used to that. You know, I love people texting me talking about us and how good we look. And, man, shout out to the coaches, man. They did their thing.
Yeah, and I didn't have it. When I look back, I was there a few years before you. I remember the spring game, which now Tech spring game, when they have one, it's 50,000 plus fans. When I was there, it was my mom, my dad, you know, my sister. Yeah. I could hear conversations in the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think the sellout streak started your red shirt year when I was there, my last year, 98. Right. And that's when the sellout streak started. Oh, yeah. It was full.
It was full that year. I rode the pines, so I seen a lot of what was going on in this man. I seen a lot of dudes in there taking shots and passing beers.
Yeah. Hey, tell everybody, man, people don't know this. You talking about riding the pine. We were playing Miami in 1998, and this is when Ray Lewis had just left. He had left a few years before, but they still were loaded. They had Ed Reed, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne. Al Clark was playing with pure sheer courage, right? Yeah. A lot of people don't know you wore a red shirt that year. You went to Coach Beamer and Coach Hike and said, yo, put me in. I want to burn my shirt right now. Right?
Yeah, I went to Coach and I asked him. And Coach looked at me like I was crazy. And I was getting a lot of pressure. It was a lot of outside influence too. It was like, you know, Jamel looking at me like, go say something, man.
Jamel Smith?
Yeah, I like, man, you need to go tell Coach you want to play him, like, but I'm not ready. And honestly, because I wasn't ready. Coach Bainman looked at me real sideways because he knew I wasn't. That was real early in the year. I think we played Miami in like September, October. The game of football didn't click to me until I was watching film in the meeting one day in December. Might have been early December, late November. And Coach Bussell was always like, just keep coming to the meetings, keep coming. You know, I wasn't understanding what was happening on defense. Therefore, I really couldn't comprehend I couldn't put it together on offense because you can't pass the ball if you don't know what's going on with the defense. Coach Bussell, just keep on coming, keep traveling. You'll get it. I'm bombing our quizzes, our tests the day before the games that we take. I'm bombing those. Really feeling like I never have a chance to play. And that football was too hard. And one day I was just sitting in the meet room and it was in late November, early December. And the 1 high, 2 high concept clicked. I went to practice and performed on the scout team, won scout team player of the week. I love telling this story, by the way. Love telling this story. Went scout team player of the week the next week. And I'm like, okay, what I'm seeing on film actually works. So I'm out there burning the defense. It's later in the year, though. It wasn't when we played Miami. It was later in the year. So if I'd have burnt that red shirt later in the season, then for the bowl game, which we won, I would have been good. We beat a good Alabama football team that day. Our clock played well. But yeah, so I didn't learn the game until later on in the year. I never told you this because I was just so excited that I was learning it. After watching you guys go out there and play efficient, good football, you know, understanding the game and being able to speak the game of football, I just wanted that. So that's why I traveled and was just hanging around you guys. It was good because it set me up, you know, for the next year, and just my maturity level was off the charts.
Yeah, man. No, I didn't know all of that. I didn't know that. I remember you on scout team.
That's real. That's real spill, because that's stories untold.
Yeah, I didn't know
untold,
that.
Yeah,
I
wasn't getting it. I wasn't understanding what was going on. It was like the ball would be snapped, and it was like every Chinese fire drill. Everybody just going everywhere. I don't know what I'm just throwing it anywhere. I'm locking in on one receiver, and yeah, cause it was frustrating to a point where I contemplating quitting.
What?
I contemplate leaving cause one day me and Coach Beamer and Coach Bustle set out on the practice field after practice was over, and Coach Bustle told me to get down on one knee in front of Coach Beamer. I got down on one knee. He looked me in my eyes. He said, "Son, one day you're gonna get it, but just don't quit on me." I mean, I was having the worst practices of my life, but that's how God worked. I kept at it. Had a coach that believed in me, wanted nothing but the best in me. It took 4 months from the time I stepped on campus for me to even learn what a cover 2 defense was, or an 8-man front, or stack front. You know how we call it, our protection.
Yeah. Stack.
Yeah. So by the time it all clicked, it was late in the year. But if it would have clicked a little earlier, Coach Big wouldn't have had no choice but to put me in. I'd have called Al. Give me a minute. Give me a minute, Al.
I had no idea. I think you mentioned it on my podcast that you were homesick and it was a little bit overwhelming, but I didn't realize you were really that close to quitting. I didn't know that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got homesick late in the year. I got homesick. Really, it started to set in like October, November. And it was because of the frustration. Like, it just mounted. That problem mounted because I wasn't the best football player that I felt like I could be. And, you know, I wasn't understanding the game. And I was like, football can't be this hard. I just came from high school where I threw for 5,000, rushed for 5,000. Why is this not working? But that day it clicked. I didn't know that it was an art to playing the quarterback position. And, you know, if you look at the game of chess, you know, I feel like that's just all it is. It's just moving pieces and plugging pieces and taking a chunk out of the defense, or, you know, taking a piece of the defense that's just opening up, whether it's in the run game or the pass game. It's just one big chess match. And it's very intriguing from that view. And I'm thankful, you know, I had the courage to play the quarterback position the way I did, because it was a lot.
What do you think about Brumeister, our quarterback there now? Because I saw him. I thought, man, like my son Isaiah loves him because he's mobile, and he was in command of the huddle. I took notes when watching. He was command of the huddle. He had that one ugly throw where he forced it and he threw a pick late in the game.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was efficient. You know, he just knew what he wanted to do with the team. And I look at him, I think, you know, there's a term, I know you know about this. You weren't this, but I hear this in pros, college, and high school, game manager.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a knock when that's not a bad thing. Everybody can't be you or Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
It's okay with managing the game.
Yeah.
You know, like,
absolutely.
How'd you think he played? I thought he was a big reason why they won, you know, why he controlled the game on offense.
And that's why I had so much respect for this game. And the game plan, Burmeister, understanding the game plan. And I always thought Fuente had a good offense, a great offense. I like the way it's ran. It looked like the offense is being ran around the country efficiently. And obviously, you got to have the right athletes in the right places to do some of those things. I get that. But it starts with your quarterback being able to make the right decisions, get you in and out of the huddle, understand the play when it's right and when it's wrong, and when to check it, and when to let it flow. And, you know, there are going to be some down points in the game, but I feel like this was a game where the team can learn from. You can go back and watch this one, and, you know, just what it builds. A game like this builds character. You learn how to win the tough ones, because, you know, if you can beat one of the top teams in the country, then you can pretty much beat anybody. You know, you just got to understand that game plan. I thought Burmeister played well enough to be the quarterback of the future for the Hokies.
Yeah, man, he wasn't complete controlling. And one thing about Fuente, since he's been at Tech, he's had Josh Jackson. He said he had Gerard Evans. He's got BB3 now, and he also had Hendon Hooker, and even who transferred Quincy, who transferred North Dakota State, one of those small schools. But every quarterback he's plugged in, he's had success with. So I don't see anything different. I like the fact that they ran the ball. A lot of people complained about the game plan and the fact that it was ball control. I felt like the whole atmosphere, the defense, and the way the offense played, it was reminiscent of our games.
It was team camaraderie at its finest. And then you had the crowd playing a factor too. So, on both sides of the ball, all three phases of the game, and Coach Ben would have been proud of the special teams. They did their job. Like, North Carolina was held in check. It was held in check. I don't care how you look at it. They had a Heisman Trophy candidate who had a chance to win it at the end, and he got picked off.
3 times.
He's feeling
3.
He's. I mean, Monday morning, Sunday morning, it was pretty dismal for him. And that's something that our defense can be proud about. And we know some of those defensive coaches over there. Those dudes, they demanding that respect. You can see that. Our team just looked tougher.
I enjoyed it, man. It was good to see Hokie Nation shine in a primetime game. I think that's what made your 2 years at Tech special, because you guys were on primetime a lot. And early in your career, the first few games, you were just running the offense, and you let Corey Moore and Carl Bradley and John Eagleberger and Nate and Chad Beasley eat, right? Jamel Smith and Mike Hawks. And then right around week 4, you just took off. And you could tell you, Dre, Ricky, Sharon Stiff, and everybody, TP, Emmett Johnson, Derek Carter, Bob Swokowski just started to take off. And I think you got to remind fans that, yes, most quarterbacks want to air it out. But I think if you look at what guys do on all levels, especially on the collegiate level, you told me something that was very important. If you win games, NFL scouts and voters and media and people that know the game will take notice when you win games. Right. And he won games. And you won games. And Brumeister, he did a great job, and I thought he managed the game. What did you think about Justin Hamilton, the defensive coordinator, and how he ran the defense? I mean, he took over for a legend in Bud Foster.
Yeah, he took. I mean, the defense. I seen some of the coverages they was playing. I seen safeties coming down in the box. I seen the 2 shell. I seen a defense that was different. I seen a defense that was totally different from what I was used to seeing with Bud. And I faced Bud plenty of times, and I watched him on TV plenty of times to know how they was playing. And if a team spread them out, they look different. But when they in their base packages, Bud defense look a certain way all the time. And so it was good to see, just another look at defense, and how the defense is supposed to look. And I've gotten used to looking at defenses over the years, but they play fast, they play with confidence. And there's some athletes out there, because them boys was in some lot coverage out there. They played some man too. They played some man. Yeah. So, obviously, just a new era of football, and that's always good. And I think shout out, to Justin Hamilton, for putting together an amazing game plan and stopping one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah. By the way, I guess I want to hear his thoughts. He just texted me a few minutes ago while you were talking. He's getting ready to jump on now. So hopefully it gets on soon, because I'm itching to ask him questions, because he is somebody that's going to have some great insight too.
Very relatable, ladies and gentlemen. Very relatable. You know him well.
When you win a game like that, we got Middle Tennessee. No longer Middle Tennessee State coming up this weekend. Back in Lane Stadium, 2:00 kickoff. You played an emotional game. You're the only game on TV. Everybody's watching you. Sellout crowd. Everybody's telling you how great you are around campus. Everybody's getting ACC honors of the week. Some even gotten some national honors. How do you come down and stay focused? Because historically, Tech, especially when I was there, y'all had some close calls, but after you left, Tech traditionally, even in the 80s, has wet the bed against inferior opponents. Right. It's just the truth.
Right.
We
I
have
remember.
not.
Yeah, I remember some.
You saw
Yeah.
one. You saw.
Yeah.
You saw.
I think it was UAB. Was it UAB?
No, UAB. It was my senior year.
Rutgers.
No, Temple.
Temple.
Listen.
At home.
Your homecoming, bro.
Home.
Listen, we were 14th in the nation. Check this out. There's always been a great debate about what's the worst loss, ODU, JMU, Liberty. I tell everybody real quick, Temple is the worst upset in Tech history.
Yeah, because that was I remember
Temple.
I remember Al threw a pick to the house. I just remember watching him chase the guy down, and I was
Nah. You thinking about?
I never want to be that guy.
Nah. Here's the thing. Out. No, you right about the pick, but it wasn't that game.
Yeah.
It was Nick Sorensen playing. We were down.
Oh, it was Nick.
Yeah, we were down to Nick because Al, he battled that whole year with shoulders and knees.
Banged up.
And then Dave Meyer got hurt. If you breathed on deep ball, Dave. Dave won't take in the punishment. That's my guy. But he had some great moments. But Nick was the guy. We were up 17-0. Temple came in that game losing 35 straight conference games. So they had lost 35 straight conference Big East games. We were 20-something point favorites. We were ranked 14th in the country, and we were up 17 points. And here's the thing. We finished that game with over 500 yards of total offense. And after that loss, 6 teams ahead of us lost in the top 25.
Wow.
So that year in 98, you lost to Temple, which is arguably ESPN and even Sport News and Sports Illustrated still classify that as one of the worst upsets in college football history. And then you lose, and then we lost that same year to your big bro, McNabb. We were up in Syracuse.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
the throwback.
That was heartbreaking.
And then we lost.
I was watching that game like, now I want to be like Donovan. I want to be Donovan. I wanted to be Donovan McNabb, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and then we also lost to UVA 29-7, leading 29-7. They came back. We were 29-7. So I know how Tech fans are feeling this week because it's Middle Tennessee. We're favored by 20. It's a home game. Tech has the advantage. I think Middle Tennessee is starting 3 freshman offensive linemen. They won last week against Monmouth, but that was a game they should have won because Monmouth is lower than them as far as Division I FCBS level, whatever. But Tech should win this game. But I get the apprehension and the nervousness.
So let me ask you this, cuz who you think need to dominate what position group? Because I'm thinking offensive line set the tone in this one.
Without question. So, you said something very profound, and I had a few people that hit me after the show, after they watched it. What did Mike mean when he said, we never went into a game thinking we were going to win? And I said, What he was saying is we never, even the games we lost like Temple, we never was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. We never went into a game overconfident. If you beat us, we made self-inflicted mistakes. We made mistakes, or that team was just better, but we never came in there cocky or arrogant. And I think to answer your question, cuz we got to come in, the O-line and D-line to me, when you look at football, especially in the collegiate and even really all levels, is it sets the tone. If you move the pocket, if you move the line of scrimmage on offense and on defense, if you play on their side of the ball, you set the tone for the rest of the game because running backs going to get free. They're going to break one because your depth and size should wear them down. And I think at the end of the day, we can talk about Brummeister, we can talk about Trey Turner and Mitchell, the tight end, and who needs to get touches and the running backs, Holston and all of that. We can talk about Shamari Connor and all the great DBs, Dorian Strong. We got some great DBs, but at the end of the day, the LOS, line of scrimmage, has to set the tone. And I think that's how you win games, especially against an opponent that you are better than. You can't, honestly, once you beat Carolina, you watch film the next morning, on to the next game on Monday. It's over. The game's over.
It's over. It's over. And, you know what I've been thinking? I'm going to call all my offensive linemen that ever played for me or in front of me, and I'm going to send them some money in the mail. You can't take care of them guys enough, man, and I should have did it more. The more I think about my career, I'm like, man, I should have took care of my offensive lineman. And, you know, when you're in the trenches and you in the grind, you like everybody grinding and trying to get somewhere. But those dudes really sacrifice a lot, and that's where the tone gets set in the game, and it starts up front.
Yeah, it does, man. And I think more quarterbacks and more skill position players need to be more aware. And if they're not aware, they need to really understand how important it is. And also, you can tell that when you look at even the teams that dominate on college. Look at I don't know if you caught the Clemson game. I caught the second half. We got back to the hotel room. Clemson the offensive line gave up 7 sacks. I think it might have been more than that. 7 or 8 sacks. Wow. And then you look at teams like Alabama, they look like they're a well-oiled machine. We talk about their skill guys, but if you look at Alabama, the constant within their program is defense and offensive line.
Defense and offensive line. They smashing you up front. They look bigger. They look more fit.
Yeah.
Whatever they eating down there, their training table. What we used to call ours? What we had? The Hokie table or something. I don't know. We had something going on at Dietrich.
Yeah. Well,
shout out to Dietrich, man.
Yeah. Yo, they got so much.
We got
so much better stuff. Finally, I guess it's jumping on, ladies and gentlemen. He's been dealing with some real bad storms down the way, but we got a really great guest joining us right now. Our guy, ACC Player of the Year, Bryan Randall is joining us right now. He's getting logged on, man. I can't wait to pick his brain and talk to him about his time at Tech.
Bryan acting like he ain't never jumped on. You know, you can pull in the parking lot and jump on the zone, baby.
Hey, if he was this late when he played, if he was late when he played like this, he probably wouldn't have started. Beans would have had him bouncing.
He was a good player. You know, we always talk about the thing me and Bryan always talk about, and what he quick to say is, I had to come fill your shoes. And he think that's the funniest thing. And I'm like, well, you did a good job because you won ACC Player of the Year. And he carried the torch. And I can only imagine for a guy like Bryan coming in and having to carry that torch, like he did it on a high level.
Hey, Bryan, how you doing, B? What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm there
good.
You go.
Hey, listen, hey.
There you
I had to call an audible, baby. I had to call an audible. Listen, I'm always that's why they call me Scramble like Randall. I'm always scrambling.
Hey,
no power in the crib. I'm scrambling to my mom's crib. Like, yo, let me get on this Zoom. Look, set up. Look, let me show y'all my set. I'm gonna show y'all my setup because I got to the crib. I said, Mom, let me get something real quick. So I came through.
Woo!
Oh, you had to throw Mom a couple $2 to sit right there.
Hey.
Look. Hey, Mom got
everything still at my mom's crib.
Bruh, let's talk about it. Let's get it. Because for real, you repped out. I like your hat. You're looking good, bro. Life is good. I know life is good for you right now. Hey.
Yo. So far, he got the VT Drip Award right now. We got other guests coming on. So Bryan Randall has set the tone. Bryan Randall has set the tone.
Self-promotion.
Yes. Shameless plug.
I mean, for real, Virginia Tech legend, though. Virginia Tech legend. You know it. Like
but you talk about replacing Mike. Mm-hmm. You were there with another Vick, my cousin, his brother Marcus. So you know, Virginia Tech for a long time had a stretch of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You talk about Mike, Marcus, you know, Tyrod came after you, but even shout out to Jim Druckenmiller, Will Ferrell. Ferrell, you go back in the day. I mean, Virginia Tech
played in the pros.
Yeah, he played in the pros. It was a great one. And I'm sorry if I omit somebody. Maurice DeShazo. You know what I'm saying? Al
Clark.
Yeah, so I mean, Virginia Tech had it. And Bryan, when you came in, man, like people don't know you were a big time recruit because you were a hooper and you played football. Also, I remember David Tiller and all those guys a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago, had the controversial Daily Press 100. Remember that? You made it. Ronald Curry rated. Leroy Keys, Mike, everybody that was who was in it. There was a Allen
That's big.
And I remember I knew Bryan Randall, obviously. I went back and read his write-up. I said, yo, B. Randall over at Bruton, right? Yeah, you were doing, you know, because Williamsburg, we always, if you were in Hampton and Newport News, he was like, oh yeah, y'all weird, because Lafayette, Lafayette's winning stakes now. When we played, when I played, I was like, yeah, coach, put me at running back.
Yeah. See, y'all so disrespectful, man. Y'all disrespectful, bro. Listen, let me get something off my chest real quick. Let me get something off my chest.
Yeah.
Listen, I was so tired in high school of people disrespecting Williamsburg, disrespecting Bruton. Look, I had to defend myself everywhere I went. Where you from? Oh, y'all ain't even really part of the 757. Oh, y'all ain't playing nobody. Where you from? Bruton. Oh yeah, y'all double A school. Oh man, this shouldn't count, man. Who y'all playing against? I mean, this was everywhere. I was one
of those guys. They was like, it's a good quarterback coming out of Bruton. I was like, yeah, he coming out of Bruton. It's like he coming out of Bruton. Hey, I ain't know you was that good though, bro. You was a step above the rest for sure.
Hey, listen, no lie. Like, this is probably a story nobody really knows. So when I was coming out my senior year, I can't remember who invited me, but somebody invited me down to Ward High School to work out. Mm-hmm. Now, I had never really, interacted with the Peninsula Cats, as far as no camps, no quarterback camps. Like, none of that, all that stuff it wasn't really like it is now. You know what I'm saying? So this is like my first chance to really be in the mix, with some Peninsula guys, So I'm out there, it's Marcus is out there, and they got B Hill and all the Ward Cats. I'm the only cat basically by myself. It's like a team camp. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out there by myself, bro. I felt so out of place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to prove myself, but it really wasn't the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had their plays and their favorients, and I was just kind of just out there. You know what I'm saying?
They was big shot.
You prove yourself though.
He was like, wait till I get the tech. Wait till I get the
Listen, that's all I could do was like, well, I'm still the number one player in the state. You know what I'm saying? I still got
I heard that. I heard that even without my headphones. You said, I'm still the number one player in the state. I love how you listen. So, hey, B. Randall, I interviewed you several years ago when I was writing for Rivals, or it was Rivals in 247. And I was impressed with you then. When I used to come back to Tech, I used to catch you, going over the castle. I used to always tell you, man, I was a big fan. Mm-hmm. I've often said though, before we talk about that 2004 team, and also we talk about the current Tech team, I remember in 2003, you guys got off to 8-0. I've said this. I've gone on record.
Real.
Yeah, listen, Mike, you were doing your thing in the league. You were on the cover of Madden. You were down in the ATL with T.I. and Usher and videos.
Though. I love these type of stories.
Listen. 2003, I've told D. Hall this, I've told Vegas Robinson this, I've said this on many radio shows, was one of the most talented Tech teams of all time. They started off, they won at Texas A&M, the first non-conference win at Texas A&M in 12 years. They beat Texas A&M, which has the 12th man. They beat LSU at home. Yes, at home, not at LSU, but in Blacksburg. 26-7.
I think I was there.
You were there. You and Marcus. That's when you got your jersey. That's when you had your jersey frame. And they retired. Retired the whole flag. You were there. Kevin Jones and Suggs and B. Randall put on the show, controlled the line of scrimmage, made LSU look slow. And Nick Saban was the coach. Saban was, he was the coach.
Who was the quarterback? Jamarcus Russell.
I don't even remember the quarterback. I just know they went home with it.
Threw that out there.
Yeah. Hey, look, but now here's the catch. They smashed Rutgers. They destroyed Syracuse. D. Hall had 2 punt returns for a touchdown. Should have had 3. Bryan Randall had 1, and I know you on this call, Mike. I know this is your show, but Bryan Randall had an amazing run against Syracuse, very reminiscent of when Gerard Evans, another great Virginia Tech quarterback, cut him back and forth against East Carolina. Bryan Randall broke around the end. I think he might have cut back 8 times.
I think it was 80 yards. I think it was 80.
Yeah. Hey,
I think it might have been a little less than 80, but it was close enough.
I want to hear about that magical season too.
Now, but that was 03. The problem with that team, they took a loss to Pitt. They took a loss to West Virginia. They lost to Boston College. They finished the season. They did beat
UVA. On them, dude.
No, excuse me. They didn't. They didn't.
What happened?
They went to UVA and lost. So I say that to say what was going through your mind before we talk about the 2004 season, man? Because do you agree with my sentiments? How talented y'all had Jake Grove at center, Grove, Ernest Wilford.
Absolutely, absolutely. 03 team was the most talented team that I was on at Tech, and I think we had the worst record. I think we finished with the worst record that year. That many other year, I was at 8-5. 8-5 that year with the most talented team that I had, the pleasure of playing with at Tech. And yeah, it was crazy, Mike, because we started off hot. I started off hot. I mean, we were feeling ourselves. Yeah. And that Rutgers game, we went in there and I had Heisman. Like I had Heisman, like representation as far as going into that game. Like even after that game,
some recognition.
I was on the list. Yeah, they start putting out the Heisman watch. The Heisman watch. Yeah, so I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we rolling. This is our year. Our squad, like we ready. Man, after that, we went into that WVU game.
A Wednesday night game. It was a Wednesday night. It was a strange night.
At WVU. I put it on record. WVU, I hated playing them the most out of anybody.
It was tough. Yeah, they was tough.
It was like, how you just had them teams that they just give you trouble. Yeah. WVU was that for me. They gave you trouble every year. Every year. I was like, I know this is the hump game going every. So we go down to WVU, man, hostile crowd. You know the environment. It's crazy.
I know the vibes. I know the vibes out there.
Vibes is crazy every time.
I still feel it.
And man, I mean, they just, they stomped a mud hole in us. I mean, really took our heart, bro.
And it was their last year in the Big East, so it was personal. It was, I believe, I don't know the final score might be like 28-7. It was crazy.
Yeah, it
was. What bowl game did y'all play in that year?
Insight.com. Versus Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, at Cal.
Yep. That's how we finished the season. I mean, against Aaron Rodgers and Cal. But I mean, it was like that was the season that it was kind of going down, and that's the season of them, swapping me and Marcus.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Okay,
that whole thing. And that situation was just it was just a messy
That's got to be. I know that was tough.
It got messy. It got messy. Yeah. Not personally, but the thing was, it never got personal between me and Marcus. Like the quarterback room was never really divided.
I'm talking about as far as just like just the feel of the game.
The fit,
just having that sense of like ownership. This is my team.
Whose team is it? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it turned into. And it was so weird because even though they swapped us, I started every game.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was games that Marcus played more than me. You see what I'm saying? So it got to the point where they were like, okay, you're going to start the game. Then we're going to bring him in the second quarter. Whoever's playing better is going to finish out the game. That's how we were going into the game.
Who was the offensive coordinator that year? Was it Steinspring?
Brian Steinspring.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. You had before we talk about that 04 season, one of the best seasons in Tech history. You against Miami when D Hall, Coach Beamer got mad. He muzzled D Hall, not literally, figuratively, but he told D Hall to stop talking because he came on the pregame press and said, "I think Miami, who was on a 31-game winning streak, who had everybody." I'm talking about household names, just like I named with Tech with Jimmy Williams and Brian Randall. Tech and Miami, everyone knows, is a huge rivalry, especially during the Big East days. Yeah. And D Hall said, "I feel like we can beat them. I feel like they're not really all that." Like D Hall was talking. I'm paraphrasing, but D Hall has never been one shy of words. And
shout out to D Hall. Shout out D Hall.
Hey, but Brian, you on that game, Tech was controlling the game, but they sat you down for the rest of the game. Marcus came in. Yep. Kevin Jones was in his bag. Eric Green had a pick six. I mean, the defense was phenomenal, but
defense
Marcus threw a touchdown pass to Ernest Wilford over Sean Taylor. What stood out to me that game was that's how talented Tech was, because Tech destroyed Miami 31-7. Brock Berlin threw 9,000 picks. But what even though I was a proud moment as an alumni and a former player, I watched how you carried that whole time with class, because that had to be hard, because you didn't complain. You didn't enter the transfer portal. It didn't exist back then, but you still could have transferred. But you handled it with class, man. I mean, Were you happy y'all won, or were you mad that they didn't put you back in?
Man, I was first of all, I was ecstatic that we won. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a huge game. You know what I'm saying? And the way that the season was going, like, we still had opportunity after winning that game to maybe run the table and still do something great. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great atmosphere. I mean, the game was live. So for me, I was ecstatic that we won. On a player basis of how I felt about the whole situation, yeah, I mean, I wasn't happy. But that just teammate that I was. Yeah, as a teammate.
That's not you. Right.
My guys, they rooted for me. We went, I mean, because you go through all this stuff as a team, off-season workouts, you're always together. So it's like it's a family. It's a family. Everybody got their personal stuff that they want to do on the field, but as a family, no, I'm happy for my guys. Personally, I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? I'm pissed that I wasn't able
no doubt. The competitor in you. Yes. The competitor in you.
I wanted to throw that touchdown Marcus through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be a part of that, you know, as far as playing wise, you know, that big win. So I mean, I was upset in that regard, but feeling, I mean, for my teammates and the whole thing as a whole, I mean, I was ecstatic we won. We beat Miami.
It's emotional stuff, and let me tell you what that did for me, for you when you came to Atlanta, when you got drafted. Well, there was unrestricted free agent, or I can't remember. I can't recall. You came to Atlanta because he came to Atlanta, and I took him under my wing. Mm-hmm. We roomed together. Told him I got a West Coast system. Mm-hmm. He learned it. He perfected it. You know, he had a good preseason, and then that all kind of went away. But we developed a relationship from there, and it's been a long friendship that has lasted a lifetime. Now we like ultimate competitors in golf. We won't get into that, but we will at some point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know right now, but but as far as just the friendship. And it showed your true character, and I watched that situation from afar, D, and I seen Bryan handle it with so much class, and then going to have success afterwards, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, and that success, you know, it seemed like your entire team, the guys that returned, you guys come back, and it's your first year in the ACC. You guys got picked out of I think y'all were like 11th or 10th out of y'all were down there, like behind Wake Forest.
Yeah,
I mean. Y'all were being disrespected, even though y'all came off a underachieving 8-5 season. Y'all still had talent. Y'all still had 10-win seasons. Y'all still had Beamer, Stein, Spring, Coach Hike, Coach Gentry, Coach Foster. Yet, you guys, along with Miami, were the first two teams in Boston College, I believe, to go to the Big East that year. And I mean ACC that year. And y'all start off with a juggernaut in the two-time defending national champions USC and FedEx Field. And you lose a tough one, and then you come back and you win, and you guys beat Duke in the home game or whatever for your first inaugural ACC win. You played great that game. Then y'all lose another tough one, NC State. So y'all are 2-2. And then all of a sudden, man, you went on a historic run. Not just you by yourself, but that team.
Right.
I mean, you led them to a Sugar Bowl berth, but you also got Player of the Year. And I mean, you got in the zone. I mean, I think the only bad play I remember you having that whole season was that throwing across the field against West Virginia, the team that gave you trouble. Y'all won that game.
I remember that.
Trying to screen. Yeah, I was like,
I remember that.
I was yelling at the screen like, "Yo, what are you doing?"
Why you bringing up the memories? Look, you bring up memories that's gonna pop in my head like yesterday. I can remember the whole play. You know what I'm saying?
But that was crazy. But B. Randall, at the end of the day, you know, paying homage to you, even if you weren't my guy, even if you weren't a Tech guy, you know, that was a great season because, again, I'm not picking on today's guys because even back then, guys would leave or they would quit or they would go on the radio or badmouth their coaches or they would be like, yo, I ain't sticking around for this. You came through and you led, you know, Tech to, a Sugar Bowl berth. Y'all lost to Auburn by 3. You could have won that game, should have won that game. You guys beat Miami on the road. You had a dime to Eddie Royal. Royal. Your receiving core was ridiculous, by the way.
Off the chart. off the chart.
Yeah, and Beamer seemed like after that USC game, he was like, you know what? I'm going to my young guys. He put those young receivers in.
He did.
And you guys, I mean, Mike Emo was special. You had that big win against UNC where Mike Emo set the rushing record for 200+ yards.
Yep.
Jim Davis had the sack that pulled him out of field goal range. Mike, I could just spit this stuff off like you happened yesterday.
Yeah,
all facts. All facts. Yep, all facts.
That's, man, I mean,
but be Randall. But just man, go back to that year, man. Did it feel real good to win the ACC, that win over UVA, to win over Miami, to be player of the year, man, to win 10 games?
That was big.
I mean, like, just go back to that moment. I know you moved on in your life, but at the same time, that's a special time, right?
Hey, very special. I mean, my senior year at Tech was a accumulation, and it was kind of like, listen, here's to celebrate all the work you've put in, all the stuff you've been through, from all the time you've been at Tech, all the ups and downs. It was satisfying, very satisfying, because as a player, my goal was always, of course, everybody wants to win a national championship, but my goal was always make it to a BCS Bowl. I watched Mike and them do it. Them get to the Sugar Bowl. That was my turning point, making me really go to Tech. You know what I'm saying? Seeing that, I'm like, I want to be part of something like that. So my senior year going into the season, you're right. We were picked, down. People were kind of counting us out because we had lost a lot of players to NFL, underclassmen, to the NFL. Right. So they were like, oh, they're young. They're trying to rebuild. They're moving into a new conference, coming off an 8-5 season. Really, they only got a couple of bright spots. But honestly, we had leadership in all the right positions, man. We had leaders. Right. We just needed young guys to kind of step up and play bigger than freshmen. You know what I'm saying? And after those first 2 games, that was kind of like our building block. Like, okay, y'all got y'all feet in the game. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time to ride. Like, we're gonna do something. Let's do something. And I remember vaguely, and I remember vividly, Coach Rogers. Shout out to Coach Rogers, man. Coach Rogers brought me in the quarterback room. It was me and him. He said, B. He called me B. He said, B, we can win. We can win out. He's like, I'm telling you right now. He's like, I'm not just saying this. He was like, the way that our schedule is set up, we can win out. It's a very legitimate chance that we can win out. I'll never forget him bringing me in that room and saying that. And
Kevin Rogers, right? Kevin Rogers. Coach Kevin Rogers.
He was like, Marcus Vick could never touch this field again.
He said that? He said that?
No. That's what we Randall thinking.
Marcus,
he never touched the field again.
Marcus
played receiver though.
I think he that he played receiver in 2000. I think Marcus that was he got in trouble, right?
He got suspended that year.
He always wanted to be a receiver. I used to throw the ball to him in the backyard when he was little. He always had hands, so that was always a thought.
Oh, he was nice at receiver though.
Yeah, he really was.
I don't know if he really wanted to be there, but he was nice though.
He looked the part.
Yeah,
he looked the part.
Yeah, he caught one TD. He caught one TD from me in the inside bowl.
He did.
Yeah, what you think about the Hokies this weekend? This past weekend?
Oh man, hey, I was excited, bro. I didn't even go front. I didn't know. I think I was at the point where everybody else like we don't really know exactly what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Coming off last year, you got Jay Ham stepping in as the D coordinator. He got his feet wet last year. So I'm like, okay, let's see what he's gonna do. New quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Receivers, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you had a whole bunch of new faces, a lot of guys coming in that, were kind of unproven, like what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily freshmen, but, what they're going to do. And then UNC is like, okay, they lost a couple of guys, but they ranked number 10 in the country. So, and all they talked about was the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, so I'm thinking, how let's, we in for a US, a tester. You know how you got them first games where we usually play 3 years in a row before USC, it's SmackDown time. You know what I'm saying? We're playing these teams where we know what we're getting into. We're going to be out in 3 quarters. You know what I'm saying? It's no issue. They might not score.
We're opening up.
Yeah, we're opening up.
We repaid North Carolina this past weekend for what they did to Cuz them in that bowl game that one time. Hey, Cuz, man, we talked about this last week.
Listen.
I'm so glad we whipped them this past week because they did y'all dirty.
Talk about that. Hey, look, man, I tell people all the time, Mac Brown was in his bag those few years at Carolina before he left to go to Texas because you guys know I'm older than you both. And Carolina that year he had 2 great seasons where they would like tough losses to Florida State. And back then it was called the Alliance Bowls before they went to BCS Bowls. So you had the sugar and the orange and the rose. And Carolina, because they lost to Florida State, you get dropped down to the Gator Bowl. So back then the ACC second place typically played the Big East second place. And they had Vonnie Holiday, Dre Bly, Ebenezer Ecubon, DJ, my man from Deep Creek, the big running back, Deion Dyer? Deion Dyer. They had everybody everywhere. Greg Ellis was so. In front of me is Vonnie Holiday, and to my left, in front of Derek Smith, the left tackle, is Greg Ellis. And I'm 6'4", 6'5". Greg Ellis is like a transformer. He looked like Optimus Prime.
He was.
And some of our best players were in the stands with my family because they were either injured or redshirt. So you had Ricky Hall, Andre Davis, Sharon Stith, all in the stands, and we had Nick Sorensen at quarterback, and he got MVP, offensive MVP at the Gator Bowl because he was running for his life. Carolina should have been there, man. It was crazy. That game was on NBC. This is how bad it was. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Mike or B. Randall. I told my family, don't come to the game. I said, and you know what's funny? Don't come. They were like, no, we're going to come support. They had signs made. I got a lot of family in Jacksonville, Florida. I said, don't come, man. Beamer, Coach Beamer, I love Coach Beamer, man. I love all those guys, Steinspring and them. But that whole week, because this is back in the day when you went full pass like every day. And we were beat up, and I remember thinking, man, we need a break, man. But Beamer was just trying to get us ready. But I went into that game along with everybody, man. We were ready for it to be over. And
irrational thinking.
Carolina, they took it to us, man.
And Bryan, you never faced Carolina, correct?
No,
he did. No.
That first year in ACC.
You did?
Yeah. They had the game. There was a big game. Mike Emo rushed for over 200 some yards.
Yeah, we killed them on the run game.
Yeah,
I remember that game, though. So sometimes you remember game plan. So our game plan going to that game was we had a check where we come to the line and whether they overload on this side, we run the opposite side. They overload on this side, run
check with me.
We ran that check over and over and over. Emo thrashed on that game.
You would think the D coordinator would at some point pick up on the check, right?
Bruh, we had a good look, and the thing is, how sometimes you go to game plans, you be like, yo, it's not like it may work, but it ain't gonna work like what I'm saying like this. But hey, that just gonna work the whole game.
Hey, cuz. Yo, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Get into our little trivia and all that.
Yeah.
What you think about BB3?
That's what I get that one. No, that's what I want to ask. That's what I want to ask. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Burmeister, what you think about him?
Burmeister.
I was impressed. I was. I thought watching him, and this is basically an unbiased because I really didn't know. I hadn't seen him in the spring. I hadn't seen like none of the practices or anything. So my first thing that I thought when watching him was he's under control. He has a grasp of the offense. He's in control of the game.
That's what I was saying, bro.
That was my first thing when I saw him. I'm like, yo, and it was evident. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you see a guy, it seemed a little bit of panic. Quick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Anxiety.
Looking to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Quick. Yeah. We've all been there. See the rush when it's not coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He looked really in control of what was going on, play by play, situationally. Right. You know what I'm saying? There was never a point where I felt like he looked like, like deer in the headlights. From start to finish, I was impressed.
He looked good, and he was rocking your jersey.
And he was rocking a 3-piece.
He was rocking
a 3-piece. So I was like, yes.
Ain't like somebody out there doing the big rocking your jersey.
Yeah,
shout out to
like
Kevin Jones. Man.
Shout out BB3. So that's what they go with, BB3.
Yeah,
BB3.
BB3. I feel it. Shout out to BB3. You did the thing, my man.
Shout out to BB3, man. Much love this weekend.
Hey, no, absolutely, man. So, B. Randall, as I told you in prepping for the show, man, we had the great Andre Davis last week. We broke in a segment called Hokie Trivia. So you are the second guest on that show. We're going to go back to that. It's already become a fan favorite. Shout out to Hokie Nation. The viewers for our first show, the feedback, the DMs, the text messages, the tweets. We appreciate y'all, man. And we're going to keep this thing going, especially this Hokie Trivia. So I picked the questions. It's you, Bryan, and Mike. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna go back and forth. I don't have a lot, but I got a few. So we're gonna dive into it. This one is going. I'm gonna start with you, Bryan, because I think Mike should know the answer. Who was the starting quarterback, V, at Virginia Tech the year before Mike took over as a starter? Was it A, Jim Druckenmiller, B, Al Clark, C, Maurice DeShazo, or D, Dave Meyer? Who was the starter before Mike took over?
A, Al Clark.
B, Al Clark? Al Clark?
You are correct.
Al Clark.
Now it could have been tricky because people don't realize this. Mike came in, he was overshadowed by Ronald Curry, who was the Gatorade National Player of the Year in both football and basketball in high school. They were in the same district. Ronald was also a McDonald's All-American, but Mike was also ranked nationally. So, but here's the thing. Coach Bustle, the offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech at the time, along with Stein Spring and Coach Beamer, Dave Meyer was a starter, not listed, but he was named number 1 on the depth chart. Mike had to beat him out. But technically, you're right, you and Mike, because Al Clark was the starter the year before. But Dave Meyer, shout out to Dave Meyer.
Shout out to Dave. That's my boy. Dave taught me everything, a lot of what I knew. I say that.
Yeah, and man, and I'm glad you both on here because you're going back to Brummeister, man, in the office. I heard fans, you got to stretch the field and you got to do this. I feel like when you look at the great quarterbacks, even on the collegiate level, when you manage the game, you can manage the game plan efficiently, it may call for more runs.
Right.
I know they're going to stretch. They got Trey Turner. They got Tavion Robinson. They got playmakers. They got Mitchell. But that game was about keeping Sam Howell off the field and making sure they didn't turn the ball over. And I think it worked perfectly.
And you just said it, controlling the game. There are going to be games when he's going to throw for 3,000. There's going to be some games where you got to hold tight. You got to come together. And that was one of them games.
Here we go. So, all right, question number 2. This is going to be interesting. For how many seasons was football the only sport in which Virginia Tech competed in the Big East? So, again, Virginia Tech went into the Big East in football in 2004. But, of course, at the time, different sports were in different conferences. It was kind of weird.
Yep.
So was it A, 10 seasons before the other sports joined? Was it 19? Was it 14? Or D, was it 11 seasons? Bryan.
Hold on. You confused me on the question. You said how many years were there in the Big East?
How many seasons was football the only sport? So football joined the Big East in 2004. And then after a certain amount of years, the other sports.
The Big East or the ACC?
ACC.
Yes.
The ACC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They joined the ACC in 2004. Okay.
Okay. Now I'm with you. Okay.
All right.
No. I'm sorry. I'm confusing myself. Let's go back. But how many seasons was football the only sport which Virginia Tech competed in the Big East? This is when Virginia Tech, I apologize, joined the Big East.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many years before the other sports joined the Big East? So because people don't realize there were other sports that joined after Virginia Tech joined.
So some sports in the Atlantic 10, right?
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Weird.
Okay. You know what you're talking about.
Weird.
So Virginia Tech was the only sport in the Big East, and then basketball came and track and all of that. So was it 10 years they were just the only sport in the Big East? Was it 19 years? Was it 14 or 11?
I'm gonna say 11.
Okay, you going with 11?
Yeah.
No, Mike. How many years before the other sports joined the Big East?
I'm gonna say 19. It took a minute.
All right, Bryan, you are close, but it was actually 10 years. It
was 94. Oh man, I wanted to say 10.
I do remember Atlantic 10 though. That's all with basketball. I do.
And you know what, man? Diehard fans, the old school, the OGs know it. I looked at that question a few times. That's probably why I got confused because I forgot that. I forgot we were in the A-10. All right, let's get back to the football field. Which former? This is a tricky one. I'm gonna read it slow. Which former Big East team did Virginia Tech defeat to win the 2007 ACC football title? So Tech won the ACC championship in 2007. Was it Duke, NC State, Wake Forest, Boston College.
Boston
in
College.
2000. Boston College.
BC.
All right, okay. I gave you a that's an easy. All right. Oh, I'm gonna be shocked if y'all get this. Because I looked at this joint like, what? All right. So when did Virginia Tech play their first nationally televised game? This is Virginia Tech football. Their very first nationally televised game. Was it A, 1967, B, 1966, C, 1970, or D, 1969?
Wow.
Woo.
Wow. I'm gonna say C.
What you going 1970?
Yeah, in the 70s.
All right.
They came into the decade right. They broke in.
B. Randall, what you going with? 1967, 1966, 70, or 69?
Man, I'm gonna go with. I didn't say what. I don't think there was no game in the 60 in the 60s. I don't think we did that in the 60s. I'm gonna go with 1970. Listen,
you're gonna join.
This is the go one.
You're gonna join
go to 70.
Yeah. All right. The correct answer is 1966.
Oh.
Yes.
I had no idea. That.
Yeah.
That's
The leather helmet days.
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
that's before we could play.
So we've been getting we've been getting some notoriety since back in the day.
I don't know who they played.
I wonder
I
what
didn't
those
have-
uniforms.
I didn't have
who did
time
they
to
play?
I don't know who they played. Probably VMI or some school
Yeah.
from Arkansas. I have no idea,
We'll
man.
look it up.
Who was the coach?
Look it up.
Who was the coach?
Who was the
I don't know,
quarterback?
man. I don't know. Listen, and it won't too many of us on the team.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
different. It was
Okay.
different time.
Okay, and this is gonna be funny. In 2003 and 2004, Mike, I'm gonna start with you. There were two Virginia Tech players who also played on the Virginia Tech basketball team. Were they Jeff King and Mike Emo? B, David Clowney and Josh Morgan? C, Mike Emo and Cedric Humes? Or D, Bryan Randall and Jeff King?
I'm gonna go with D. Bryan
going
and
with
Jeff
D?
King.
All right, okay. Mike.
2004. Yeah, he was there.
B, Randall,
Might have been gone. Yeah, that was your senior year, Brian. That was your senior year, right?
in 2003 and 2004, Jeff King and Mike
03, 04.
Emo,
Yeah,
David
I
Clowney.
stand by that. Yes, I stand by that.
Okay.
D.
D,
Bryan
you're
Randall
going with
and
D.
Jeff
He's
King.
saying with confidence. So who is it, B?
Hey, it's Bryan Randall and Jeff King, baby.
No doubt.
You were a very good basketball player in high school, as I mentioned.
Yes.
And you and Jeff King, I saw that question. I said, I got to put in the trivia, even though it's a giveaway. But you were there on the team. Y'all upset Duke, if I'm correct, right?
Nah, missed
Oh,
that.
y'all okay. Jeff King was on
that.
that team, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Jeff
he was.
King
Yeah,
was.
I
Yeah.
missed that. Yep.
Yeah. How
missed
was
that.
it playing both
How
sports?
was how was it?
Beamer let you do
Hey.
that? Beamer
Oh, y'all
let
want
you.
the
Stories
inside?
untold.
Y'all want the inside?
Stories
we want
untold.
Y'all want the
Listen,
inside?
yes, we want the inside.
We
Here's
want
the
the
inside.
inside.
Here's the inside scoop in a nutshell. How the basketball came about. 03. We talked about that season.
Yeah.
After the inside.com bowl, I go home for probably about 3 or 4 days. I get a call from Brian Matthews. Shout out Brian Matthews, Hokie great in basketball.
Yeah.
He kissed me up. He's like, B. He's like, I talked to Coach Greenberg. Shout out to Coach Greenberg. Awesome coach, man. Awesome coach.
No doubt.
He was like, Coach said, if you want to come out and play, you can, you know what I'm saying? You can come out and play. I'm like, dang. I'm thinking in my head, I just got out of football. Like I'm thinking about the season. I'm thinking about, I'm already distraught with what just happened, 8-5.
Right.
I'm like, man, I talked to my dad. I'm like, Dad, I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Now, granted, I haven't played. I'm gonna play 2 years. No basketball. You know what I'm saying? Other
Right.
than McComas. You know what I'm saying? Wrecking it up.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the thing was, B was like, you can come out here. He's like, but the kicker is, we need you to come out here within the next couple of days.
Killed your whole break.
Bro, cancel the break, like cancel the off season, cancel that. So I was like, dang, I'm thinking in my head, like, man, but I might not get this opportunity again. I'm thinking in my head, this is a last. So when I told him I was gonna play, I did that before I talked to anybody.
Wow. You were very bold.
Oh, you were real bold.
You were very bold.
Bro.
So Beans found out.
Can't let it pass you by. Can't let that opportunity pass you by. You just made
hey, listen, I was in limbo. I was in limbo from the season before, not knowing what was going to happen the next year.
Right.
I didn't know if my number was up. I didn't know if I was coming in as a backup. Yeah. So I'm like, listen, I said, you know what? B, I'm coming. 3 days later, I'm in the whip up to Blacksburg to start practice. In my head, I'm like, Coach Beamer and them are just going to have to accept it.
Hey!
Listen, I'm gonna give you the truth.
I want all the way to the story when Coach Beamer called you and y'all had that conversation.
Look, it's honestly, I don't even remember the situation where it turned into, me sitting down and being like, Coach Beamer, are you gonna let me play? I don't remember none of that. All I remember is saying in my mind is that I'm playing basketball, and it wasn't on some get back at Coach Beamer. It wasn't like get back at him. I didn't want to hear no. I didn't want to give nobody an opportunity to be like, no, you're not playing.
I got you.
Listen, it was really the air was so thin from the previous season. Like it really, like the ship was like, it was tight. Like nobody really knew what to do. Seriously, like nobody knew exactly what was going to happen.
This is a great story.
Yes, nobody knew what was going to happen. So I just kind of took it upon myself.
Hoop dreams. Hoop dreams.
Hoop dreams. I took advantage of the opportunity. I took advantage of the opportunity. Best decision I ever made. Best decision I ever made. Hands down, one of the best times I've ever had in college in my life, period. Basketball in college,
that's amazing.
Bro, it was just so different. Like, I mean, as far as that's from the schedule of like football. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, bro.
Stories untold
all the time. You're traveling.
Hey, we got the end on that.
I love it.
In the restaurant. We ordered food off the menu. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like it was real, bro. Like
you earned that right. That was going into your senior year too.
That was going to my senior year. I missed winter workouts. Like I missed winter workouts that year because of basketball.
They was mad at that.
I didn't get an orange shirt. I didn't get an orange shirt my senior year.
You didn't get the orange. You lost your super iron Hokie.
I lost my I ain't know super iron now. Hey, I still had the super iron, baby. Hey, I still throw it up.
Man, I know, man. I know Gentry was tripping. I mean,
he wasn't too happy, but I think he was happy for me. He wasn't too happy that I was missing because we all know that those winter works are bonded. You know what I'm saying? You're bonding with the team. Right. You're getting up 6 a.m. the early morning.
6 a.m. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. So we're thinking, it's going to my senior year. If I am the starting quarterback, I'm not even there with the squad. I'm off in basketball. So it was different. But we see how it turned out.
I was just about to say, hey, look, man. Hey,
we see
it was a magical season. Cuz said it was a magical season.
No, I mean it was. B. Randall, man, one of my favorite players of all time. I mean, and I got a lot. That guys I played with, guys before me, after me. I mean, he's my guy, man. I didn't know that whole story. I thought B, because you talking about Beamer, man. He know when you miss class. He got Bruce. He got Bruce and Berlin spying on you. You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
It could have been. Look, it could have been a situation where the coach went to him first. But I wasn't gonna be the one running the Coach Beamer because I didn't want to hear no. You know what I'm saying? So maybe coach they talked to, they had did their thing. But me personally,
I think it's fair to say you earned Coach Beamer's respect by all that working out the way it did.
Hey, respect the Coach Beams, man. Hokie legend, man.
Right.
Yeah,
no. Coach Beams,
When smart men get together, man, they understand what the core values and principles are and what's at the finish line, and I think y'all both understood that.
Hey, one quick story for y'all, real quick though, too, real quick. And I got to come back to you. You my man, like Ook's my man. Like people don't really understand that. People don't understand that I really didn't have a relationship with Mike while I was at Tech.
Mm-hmm.
On my visit, I saw Mike. Cool, but Mike wasn't my host. Vinny Burns was my host on my visit.
Shout out to V. Burns.
Nobody was even on campus. Nobody was there. I didn't actually really meet Mike until I got to Atlanta. That's when we formed our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Mike took me on this wing. Shout out to Mike. Here's the story. When I got my call to go where I was going to go undrafted, I got a call from Tampa Bay. I got a call from the Arizona Cardinals, and I got a call from Atlanta. So this all happened. As soon as the draft's over, they calling me, I get on the phone. I'm talking. I can't remember who exactly I was talking to. It might have been
Rich McKay.
MK. Yeah. MK.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Rich McKay. Yep.
Yep. So no. I'm talking QB coach. Who's the QB coach?
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson. So I'm talking to a couple guys. Well, anyway, Mike Johnson gets on the phone and they're like, hold on, before we do sign you, I need to holler at Mike to make sure everything is cool with us signing you.
Yeah.
At least
and
they
you know
did
what?
that.
That's how I go down behind closed doors.
Huh? Listen, I'm like, hey, well, if he mad at me, like if he, you know what I'm saying, like if he got a grudge against me, they ain't gonna sign me. You know what I'm saying? Like they made that known. They was like, listen, before we sign you though, we gotta talk to Mike to make sure that's good. And I don't know if they talked to him or not, but I do remember that vividly because I was thinking in my head, like, hey, he got juice. Like they're gonna ask him because they don't want me coming in, or there'll be no animosity between me and him.
Boy, got some
situation at tech. Yeah, I'm like, damn. I'm just trying to play. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no beef with Mike. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going. I'm just trying to get in the league. I'm trying to get my foot in the door. They trying to stop my dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
no.
Nah.
Stop your dream. Look, you know, come on. And look,
he did, man. Shout out, man. Hey, Ook was there for me, bro. I was so impressed with Ook when I got to Atlanta.
We had
that West Coast. I said, bro, that's Spanish. I said, they speaking Spanish out in the playbook. I said, Ook, how did you... How are you spitting out the play so fast? How are they able to say 2 words? You spitting out the whole play.
That's crazy.
I'm getting a huddle. I'm like, man, green right, west, you left, H2, Wally. You know what I'm saying? They telling him, look, Dwight, they in the huddle calling him. I'm looking on the sideline. They like this. All right, Mike, we got green right.
And I'm feeling it.
Like, what's the rest of the play?
Green right, Fox, green right, 2
They could drive 3-2 down. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, bro.
Because he asked me one night, he was like, how do you call the plays like that? I'm like,
I was mind blown,
bro.
I really was mind blown.
Shout out to Greg Knapp.
A lot of practice.
Shout out to Greg Knapp. Rest in peace, Coach Knapp, man.
Greg
He's
Knapp,
one of the greatest teachers that I've ever had as far as detail and how to teach a system. And from you to Matt Schaub to any guy who came behind me, I was able to teach it the way he taught me, and I thought that was special. So
yeah, that was cool.
Man, we had such a good time. Bryan didn't make the team that year. He went on and played elsewhere, a bunch of other years in different places, but we still got a relationship to this day, man. It's like no other, true brotherhood, and I appreciate that, man. And we definitely appreciate you coming on and joining.
Oh, absolutely, man. Hey, and you mentioned shout outs. This is the last segment we have for the show before we close out, man. We want to end it with Hokie shout outs, man. You can shout out Bryan, any Hokie you want, current player, a coach, a retired player, anybody, as long as they're a Hokie. So I'll go first, man. I was going to go with Bryn Meister. We talked about him a lot. I was happy for your old teammate, you know, Coach J. Ham, Justin Hamilton. But I'm going to go in a different lane. I want to shout out Hokie Nation and everybody affiliated with Virginia Tech, man. Like, I felt like this past weekend, Hokie Nation showed out with the all orange, the fans. You had that one ugly incident with some UNC fan, but that happens everywhere. Overall, man, like, I felt like we kicked off the season and the fans really helped us bring that game home. And I feel like this could be something special if Tech can build on it, because our fan base, when we were there, before we got there, every year, Hokie Nation has shined. And I feel like, man, they deserve a shout out, man. Even with this show, this new pod, me and Mike came, and people are just supporting us. And there's a lot of podcasts out there. I've been on a lot of them. Shout out to all the other, my guy Don V, Sons of Saturday, a lot of them out there, but we getting that same love, man. So I'm gonna shout out Hokie Nation, man. Mike, who you want to shout out, man?
I'm gonna shout out VV3. I got to shout out the quarterback in week 1 because, you know, I always got my eyes on what the quarterback is doing, and I'm watching everything that goes on, from his mannerisms to the way he's looking in his helmet. And the kid looked like he was just having fun. And, you know, to know that, you know, he was able to keep it tight, didn't turn the ball over. I know that's always cliche, but for him to hang in there for 4 quarters against one of the top teams in the country, I think it says a lot about that young man. So shout out to BB3. And I'm not always going to be quarterback biased. I just think that set the tone for the weekend.
Nah, that's a great shout out, man. I mean, he was great, man. I love the way he played. B. Randall, who you got, man?
All right, man. My shout out, man. Like both, I mean, Hokie Nation, definitely. The way, like you said, BB3 did his thing for sure. But man, I'm gonna go with my mans I came into school with, one of the original 4 that we came into school early, summer session early. My first roommate in Cochran, Jay Ham. Shout out to Jay Ham, man.
Justin Hamilton.
Jay Ham, freshman roommate. Man. My freshman roommate, man. I'm so excited for him, man. I know his work ethic, man. I know his intensity. You know what I'm saying? And the defense did their thing, man.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Shout out to the defense.
Yes, they
did.
Shout
out to the D.
Yeah,
defense did their thing, bro. Definitely. You know, this year too. So, you know, now his feet are wet. Now he's in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So he's right there in it, man. So we going to shout out, man, Jay Ham.
Hey,
man.
baby.
Hey. No, man.
This is Jay Ham.
Nah, I'm proud of him, man. And I've talked to him a few times, man. I did the Virginia Tech moderator thing for the alumni, and I've talked to him, even him one-on-one, and he's poised for a great run. He replaced a legend, but he's already taken a lot of great step forward. And on top of it, he finally had an off season with his guys. And I love what I saw on defense. I'm an offensive guy, but I know a great defensive scheme when I see one.
Yes.
So, you know, hey, B. Randall, real quick before we wrap up, how can people keep up with you? What do you got going on? And real quick, where can they keep up with you? What do you got going on? Where can they follow you?
Hey, listen, so, you know, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Instagram 3_B_Rand. Yeah. I believe it is. I'm on Facebook. Listen, type my name in. You're going to find me. Check out my family. We got a YouTube page going on now. The Randalls of Pancake Saturday. So y'all keep us on YouTube. Hey, it's just, listen, our life, I got 3 kids now, man. I'm loving it. I'm staying busy. I'm working at the shipyard, doing production control. Shout out to my RSR family. You know, things are good, man. I'm blessed, man. God has been really good to me and my family. And, you know, I'm just excited about life, man. I'm the same Hokie I always was, you know what I'm saying, to the heart. And, you know, if y'all looking to find me, man, I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about, you know, being out here for people, you know what I'm saying, spreading the love. And it's B. Randall,
and an amazing motivational speaker. Book him. Hey, boy, next time I see you, I'm going to get you on that golf course. You got me the last time, but I'm going to get you when I see you. I'm going to get you.
Hey, hold on. Say it again. Who won last?
You won last. You won last. But just know, I'm working on my game. I told you I was hitting the range. I'm going to start working on my game. I'm gonna start hitting
Don't let Mike fool y'all, though. Listen, Mike started playing golf when I got to Atlanta. I was beating him up, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't hang, da, da, da. I don't know what this man did. But I don't know what this man did within a couple years. This man is a totally different golfer. Don't let him fool y'all with the new golf. He's not no new golfer no more.
I take your money.
This man is a real golfer. He's a real golfer now.
I just got some new equipment.
I love it. Look, hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, B. Randall, for jumping on, man. On behalf of my co-host, Mike, we appreciate you, man. And we appreciate you, Hokie Nation. Kickoff Saturday, 2 o'clock, Middle Tennessee, in Lane Stadium. And like we say every week, Hokie Nation, we love you. Go Hokies.
Go Hokie. Hokie Nation, we love you.